What's poppin', guys? Szyl here, and today we're taking a look at the Canals collection. So, first things first, we have the Negev Baroque Sand, which is a very unique design. I don't really know what kind of design this is, but it looks dope. Bunch of X's, like a certain pattern going on. The rest of the pattern feeds into the X's very well, and it goes together very well with a really solid color scheme that kind of helps highlight this very cool design. And having a very noticeable X right here on the mag, despite being on the side that you're not firing, is also kind of cool. I think it's a pretty solid looking skin, and I can't say you can really go wrong with it, so I'm actually going to put in the C tier. Can't go wrong with it. That's what the C tier's for. Anyway, next up is the AWP Navy Murano, which is kind of weird. It doesn't cover the whole skin with its normal design. The part that it doesn't cover, which is still stock, it covers somewhat with some parts of its design, which is really weird. I think it should have been dark blue in the whole design, and it would have looked a lot nicer that way. But then it probably wouldn't be a gray, so I guess they had to kind of do it to him. So that's that. Um, yeah, some basic flowers and circles and stuff, random designs, tossed on a dark blue background. I can't say it's worse than stock, but I can't say it's very good. So that's a D tier for me. Anyway, next up we have the Scar 20 Stone Mosaico, which kind of has the tornado type of skin coloring with a Pablo Picasso type vibe. If Pablo Picasso liked tearing up his artwork and scratching it to hell, I wouldn't get this. This looks worse than stock. I don't even know what to say about this thing. It's scratched the fuck up. This is fact new. It's super scratched, scratches all over, and the base design looks really bad and covers all the wrong parts of the weapon. Does not fit together whatsoever. And basically anything that could go wrong with this design went wrong with this design. Anyway, next up is the CZ Indigo, which is, yeah, it's an indigo finish for the top. And then the rest of the skin is just like a nice darkish green with a nice gray. Very simple reskin, but not bad. Would not mind owning one. I'm gonna put in C tier. Bottom of C tier. It's definitely worse than the Negev, but yeah, just can't really go wrong with this one. Then we have the R8 Revolver Canal spray. What is this? I guess the spray means it's spray painted on like teal. I don't even know what the color of this is called, but yeah, it's not particularly nice. I guess it's a bit better than stock, I'll give it that, but it's worse than most things we've looked at so far. So yeah, D tier. Um, Next up we have the P250 Dark Filigree, which is interesting. Very dark skin. Everything about this color, dark red, black, and dark gray are all very dark colors. Um, they can go together well with the right design, but this design is almost a bit random and does not look that good, and it's really hard to even see. So for that, I'd say just go with stock. I don't think it's a really good design. I mean, it's definitely the best thing in F tier. It's maybe a little bit better than stock if you really look at it, but otherwise it's virtually the same as stock. I would never get one of these things. Next up is the Tech 9 Orange Murano, which is interesting, I guess. Got a very intricate kind of design. Not sure what any of this is, but it's there. It's there. It's definitely something. Don't know what, but it is some kind of abstract kind of design. And it's a very noticeable design, I'll give it that. The mag color's a bit weird, but you barely see that in game, so I guess that's okay. And everything else on the weapon's covered by that somewhat weird design, so I guess I wouldn't really completely hate picking one of these things up, and it definitely is better than stock, so I'll put it at the top of D tier. I don't think it's the C tier kind of skin, so yeah. Next up is the SG553 Candy Apple. And like most candy apples, it replaces the stock with a nice blackish finish. Unlike almost any other candy apple, despite being fact new, this thing is scratched a bunch. Also, the replacement of stock with this like blackish finish doesn't actually look good. It just looks bad. It almost looks like an unfinished skin. I guess it's a little bit better than stock because the bright red is very noticeable and kind of looks somewhat nice, but other than that, I think it's one of the worst D tier skins. It's not very not very nice, but it's definitely D tier. It's a bit better than stock. I'll give it that. Next up, we have the AK-47 Baroque Purple, which unfortunately this one has stickers on it, so we don't get the full design. But I'm assuming the full design is like this, then it's a somewhat neat pattern with a very basic gray background. I'd say you can't really go wrong with this one. I mean, you can even see all these somewhat random stickers go together, despite just because it has like a basic background. Pretty much any stickers can fit on it. So it's just a nice looking basic weapon. Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with this one. Yeah, definitely C tier. Nothing crazy, but definitely not bad. Especially for the AK where the default is so bad. Having just a basic skin you can go to is kind of nice. Anyway, next up is the SG08 Orange Filigree, which is the same design as that P250 with a debatably worse color scheme, and then for some reason is stupidly scratched up, which is really bad in my opinion, and it's already a mediocre design. I guess this is a bit better than stock, and I guess the orange color use is a bit more bright and noticeable than the P250, so I'll give it that. But otherwise, this looks bad. It's definitely bottom of tier, debatably F tier. I almost want to use stock over this thing. Then we have the dual Berettas Emerald, which despite being half stock, and normally I completely despise using stock for any of the weapons, any weapon skin, but this emerald finish is done so well and looks so good even in the darkest like lighting that I just can't dislike it. It's a beautiful color emerald. Despite being an unfinished skin, I actually kind of want one of these, so I'm gonna put it in B tier. I actually really like it. Despite it being a half finished skin, I actually really like it. Then next up we have the P90 Baroque Red, which is weird. Got a nice silver top here to go with like a almost like Damascus. If you guys ever actually seen like the what is called freestyle knives that they have in CS, it almost looks like that design, then with like a silver top, almost like the silver part of the knife. So in that regard, it looks somewhat clean. I would not mind owning one of these. Got a somewhat nice design, a very general silver finish, and the scratches it excuse me, the scratches it has are kind of the very hard to spot because it has a silver finish. So the scratches being generally kind of silver, kind of go with the skin almost, which is kind of nice. So I'll definitely put this probably below the Negev and C tier. I think that Negev looked actually really nice, especially for being a gray. Then next up we have the G3SG1 Violet Murano, which uses yet again that really weird abstract design, but this time with a very, very interesting color of blue, purple, red, and like the color scheme on this is beautiful. If the mag was also colored like this random color of blue they chose for the handle and stuff, this would actually be a really good looking weapon. But even without that, even having a good amount of it being stock, like the middle, the attachments here, the front part, and like the mag, it's still a somewhat solid looking gun. I would actually put this in C tier, weirdly enough. I actually think it looks somewhat decent. And yeah. Next up is our first purple, the Mac 10 Red Filigree, which uses that same design we've seen twice before, but in a much better way. Holy shit. With the right color scheme, which is what this is a nice, very nice bright red with a nicer dark blue background to complement it very well. It makes the design very noticeable of like kind of like a flower surrounded by all these like swirls and stuff. It looks very, very cool, very, very clean. And because it's a Mac 10, it's actually okay that it's an unfinished skin. I think the Mac 10, really the focus is on the box, and it using the stock design elsewhere is somewhat excusable. And the main part of the weapon looks so good that it kind of draws your attention from the fact that this even is like half of a stock weapon. So I'm gonna say it's actually pretty good. I'm gonna put this in a B tier. I would not mind picking one of these up. I'm actually debating doing it right now if it wasn't for the stupid high price tag of $60 to $120. Anyway, next up we have the Nova Baroque Orange, which it's beautiful. I have nothing else to say. It's got that really nice finish we saw in the Negev with like the X patterns, with a just completely beautiful orange, sorry, red and yellow kind of thing here. The background's a gray color, which complements that very nicely, and the X's are made of like white and like a different color of gray. Oh my god, this thing looks. I don't even know how to describe why this thing looks so good. It's a piece of like modern fucking art, dude. I love this. It still uses the stock pump for some reason, but that's actually okay. That just fits with the rest of the skin. It almost gives it like a black and white front with a really nice back. which is it's beautiful, man. I actually really want one of these. I'm gonna put in the A tier. I think it looks absolutely astounding. Then we have the MP9 stained glass, which stained glass. What can you say? Definitely stained glass, I guess. Blue stained glass with some red stained glass, and half of the weapon is still stock for no reason. That's really it. Like, this is expensive for trade up reasons only. It's because the higher skins are better. I wouldn't really like the design of this skin too much. I'd say it's top of D tier. I think everything in C tier looked nicer than it, in my opinion. Just very basic blue stained glass does not look too nice. Then we have the only pink in this collection, the Mag 7 Cinqueda? Cinqueda? I don't know. It's one of those HD looking skins. It's one of very few Mag 7 skins that just isn't scratched. I mean, this is a .01, so I guess that's a thing, but it's just unscratched, right? There's no scratches I can really see anywhere. It looks like a very well defined skin. The color scheme is absolutely really well done. This kind of red royal finish on the handle and pump goes very well with almost like the as if you guys have ever seen like a pack of cards, like it kind of looks like the jack, the king, the queen, like those cards. This kind of has that type of finish to it. Kind of looks like a deck of cards type of finish on the back, and it just goes well together very well, and just ends up looking like a really clean skin. I would probably actually pick one of these up if the price tag wasn't too high, which it is in my opinion. I think it's a bit less clean than just the basic emerald finish on the dualies. I really like simplicity. I don't know why. But it looks very clean, very well thought out, so it's definitely a B tier for me. And the final weapon, and kind of the highlight of this collection, ranging from 2,000 to almost 5,000 US dollars, the AWP Prince. Which, yeah, I mean, this thing is a fucking beauty. At the top on the scope here, you have things that look almost like it's one of those things you see in a casino. I forgot what the exact game is called, but it looks like one of those on the scope. The R here and like kind of the circling design around it almost makes the kind of thing on the scope almost look like a Rolls Royce kind of design. The general design of this weapon is something that you'd see like the kind of the design that you think of when you think of a Prince. This is exactly what I kind of imagine. Looks absolutely beautiful, no real noticeable scratches. The scope still being black is a really nice touch. And even the front of the barrel, which normally goes untouched, is used and designed with a nice little gold kind of design up here. And the general overall use of gold, combined with just the really beautiful design and the fact that the whole weapon is actually used. That's actually pretty rare for AWPs. The entire AWP has some kind of difference. It's beautiful, man. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, there's a reason this thing is worth close to $5,000 with like the right conditions. S tier. I mean that's not even like a thought. I didn't have to think about that one. It's such an easy S tier. It's the highlight of this collection. It's what it's known for. Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will be seeing you in the next one.